You know, when people ask me why I keep pushing for advanced AI and humanoid robotics, I tell them it's not just because I think the technology is cool, though obviously I do. It's because I look at the trajectory of civilization and I see these enormous structural challenges. From aging populations to shrinking workforces to the absurd growth of national debt. And I think, well, what if we could fundamentally rewrite the equation? Imagine a world where labor is no longer a bottleneck, where productivity isn't constrained by the number of humans you can hire, but instead limited only by how fast you can manufacture robots and run machine learning models. A world where an economy isn't dragged down by inefficiency, but propelled forward by a kind of perpetual motion of intelligence and automation. I've said before that if you have enough AI and enough robotics, physical labor becomes optional. And if physical labor is optional, then economic output becomes something like a software problem, which means national debt, this massive weight hanging over the future, could be addressed in ways people haven't really let themselves imagine yet. Because debt is basically a claim on future productivity, right? And if the future level of productivity explodes upward because robots can build houses, harvest crops, construct factories, dig tunnels, maintain infrastructure, develop new materials, even explore Mars or the asteroid belt, then suddenly the ratio of debt to productive capacity looks completely different. It's like trying to calculate energy usage before the invention of electricity. The whole model breaks. Yes, you get deflation from such a productivity boom, but deflation caused by too much stuff being produced too efficiently is not the catastrophic kind. It's the kind where society gets richer because abundance becomes the default state. I've always said that technology is the closest thing we have to magic. And when you combine robotics with AI, you get something like a civilization-level superpower, a way to solve problems that governments have wrestled with for centuries. That's why I push so hard for scalable manufacturing of humanoid robots, why I talk about solving labor shortages and supporting aging populations and creating an economic engine that can, if we guide it carefully, pay for enormous national obligations without requiring massive tax increases or endless political battles. But, of course, it's not automatic. We need guardrails, we need alignment, we need to make sure the AI systems are actually beneficial and not something that runs off in a weird direction. Sometimes I think people underestimate how fragile progress can be, how a few bad decisions or a bit of complacency can delay advancement by decades. But at the same time, I've never been more optimistic. Because when I look at the prototypes walking around the lab, or I see AI models solving problems in minutes that used to take teams of engineers weeks, I feel like humanity is finally stepping into the next chapter of its story. It's not just about making cool gadgets, it's about giving civilization the tools to thrive, to stabilize, to build a future that actually makes sense mathematically, economically, and morally. And maybe one day we'll look back and think it was obvious all along that the way to fix the biggest problems was to build the smartest minds and the most capable machines we could, and then steer them toward the greatest challenges we have. That's the story I'm trying to tell. And honestly, it's the one I think humanity needs right now. And the funny thing is, when I talk about this future where AI and robotics help stabilize entire economies, people sometimes think I'm describing some distant sci-fi world, like something that happens in the year 2200 after we've all uploaded our brains to the cloud. But the truth is that the foundations are being built right now, right under our feet. And most people don't notice because transformative change usually feels slow while it's happening and only looks explosive in hindsight. I remember the early days of SpaceX when everyone said it was impossible to land orbital rockets and that reuse was a fantasy. And then one day you look around and it's just normal, it's routine, like landing a plane. And that same pattern is going to happen with humanoid robots and general purpose AI. One day people will laugh about how, in 2025, humans were still manually stocking warehouses and cleaning floors and assembling products that machines could do with perfect precision. And once that shift takes hold, the economics flip. Because if you can produce 10 times the output at 1/10 the cost, the old constraints dissolve and national problems like debt, healthcare staffing shortages, infrastructure decay, even disaster response suddenly become solvable in ways governments alone could never achieve. That's why I keep saying that technology is not just about convenience. It's about civilization scale leverage, because a single breakthrough in robotics or AI can cascade across industries like a domino effect. Manufacturing becomes faster, transportation becomes autonomous, construction becomes continuous and modular, energy systems become optimized by real-time intelligence, and productivity surges in a way that forces entire economic models to be rewritten. And look, I know some people worry that automation means fewer jobs, but I've always believed that humans excel when they're freed from repetitive tasks. When we invented tractors, we didn't stop farming. We farmed better, we farmed more. And humanity progressed, and the same will happen here, except at a scale we've never seen before. Because when you remove the constraints of manual labor, you unleash human creativity, exploration, science, engineering, art, all the things that actually move us forward as a species. Of course, you need the right policies, the right safeguards, the right societal conversations, because powerful tools require responsible hands. But if we get this right, AI and robotics won't just balance the books or reduce the weight of national debt. They'll unlock an era of abundance where scarcity isn't the fundamental operating principle of civilization. And when I picture the future, cities built by autonomous machines, energy harvested cleanly at massive scale, space industries powered by robotic labor, economies stabilized by hyper-efficient production, I don't see chaos, I see opportunity. I see humanity finally having the bandwidth to solve the problems we've been kicking down the road for generations. And honestly, that's the story I'm living for. That's why I push so hard. That's why every setback is worth it. Because if we can build this future, if we can actually make it real, then everything we are doing now, every rocket landing, every robot iteration, every new AI model, becomes part of a much bigger arc. The arc of a species learning to build its own tools of prosperity, its own engines of stability, its own path toward a world where we finally live up to our potential. And, sometimes late at night, when the labs are quiet and the prototypes are powered down, I walk through the factory floors and I think about how bizarre it is that the future of civilization might depend on things that look like early sketches from a sci-fi comic. These metal skeletons with blinking sensors and half-finished neural controllers. And yet, I feel this strange sense of calm because I've seen enough impossible things become possible to trust that we're on the right trajectory. People talk about national debt like it's this immovable mountain, this permanent scar on the economic landscape. But mountains can be moved if you build machines strong enough, and in a way that's what AI and robotics are. Civilization's bulldozers, capable of shifting the terrain of what's economically feasible. If you can automate construction, automate logistics, automate manufacturing at scale, then the cost of building everything society needs plummets. And when costs plummet, the burden of debt shrinks relative to the value being created. Think of it like terraforming, but for economics. You change the environment until the old problems don't survive in it. And maybe that sounds grandiose, but honestly, humanity's been stuck in this loop where we argue about the same things for decades because we're trying to solve 21st century problems with 20th century tools. And the only way out is to upgrade the toolkit. And I'm not saying AI and robots magically fix everything. They won't cure bad policy or lack of vision, but they give us leverage. And leverage is what separates civilizations that stagnate from civilizations that reach escape velocity. Sometimes people ask me if I ever get tired, if it weighs on me to push these ideas forward when there's so much skepticism, and I tell them no, because the alternative is accepting a future where we just keep patching the same holes in the same sinking boat instead of building a better ship altogether. And I guess that's the real story I'm trying to tell. Not just that AI and robotics could change the economy, not just that they might reshape the way nations handle debt,